Inshallah, we will be starting off tonight's program with a recitation of Holy Quran, for which I would like to call upon Brother Haider Zaidi. Let us welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Thank you for that beautiful recitation. Let us have a loud salawat for Brother Haider. Next, I would like to call upon Brother Daniel to come up and recite a salam. Let us welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بر محمد وال محمد صلوات. کہاں جائے آخر بیابان ہر سو شکستہ ہے پہلو اکیلی ہے زہرا. کہاں جائے آخر بیابان ہر سو شکستہ ہے پہلو اکیلی ہے زہرا. رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا اکیلی ہے زہرا. رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا اکیلی ہے زہرا. در فاطمہ کو جلایا ہے تم نے کیا وعدہ اپنا بھلایا ہے تم نے. در فاطمہ کو جلایا ہے تم نے کیا وعدہ اپنا بھلایا ہے تم نے. تماچے نہ مارو مسلمانوں جاؤ علی کو بلاؤ اکیلی ہے زہرا. رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا اکیلی ہے زہرا بیاں کس سے جا کر کروں درد اپنا ہے غیروں کی دنیا نہیں کوئی اپنا بیاں کس سے جا کر کروں درد اپنا ہے غیروں کی دنیا نہیں کوئی اپنا کوئی جا کے بابا سے کہہ دو یہ جا کر کہ لے جاؤ آ کر اکیلی ہے زہرا رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا اکیلی ہے زہرا اے لخت جگر اے حسن بن حیدر یہ نانا کے پہلو میں سونے نہ دیں گر اے لخت جگر اے حسن بن حیدر یہ نانا کے پہلو میں سونے نہ دیں گر تم آ جانا پہلو میں سو جانا ماں کے بقی میں یہاں پر اکیلی ہے زہرا رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا اکیلی ہے زہرا شہ کربلا نے کہا رو کے ماں سے یہ مظلوم بیٹے نے مظلوم ماں سے شہ کربلا نے کہا رو کے ماں سے یہ مظلوم بیٹے نے مظلوم ماں سے اکیلا ہوں میں بھی اکیلی ہے زینب اکیلے ہے بابا اکیلی ہے زہرا رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا اکیلی ہے زہرا سر مرگ اختر تھا زہرا کا نوحہ کب آؤ گے مہدی کب آؤ گے بیٹا سر مرگ اختر تھا زہرا کا نوحہ کب آؤ گے مہدی کب آؤ گے بیٹا خدا کے لیے اب یہ پردہ ہٹا دو چلے آؤ آؤ اکیلی ہے زہرا رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا اکیلی ہے زہرا بڑھ محمد والے محمد صلوات
Thank you for that beautiful recitation. Let us have a loud salawat for Brother Danyal. Allah. Just a few announcements before we begin the majlis for tonight. I'd just like to reiterate the importance of donating for the Az-Zahra Hall. The center has trying to reconstruct the building that we already have and to turn it into a hall for the sisters and other facilities for the community. There's a career fair on December 7th, Sunday at 2 p.m. And all of you are requested to attend as a mentor or as a student. As you leave the conference room, please make sure to clean up after yourselves so it's easier for the volunteers to have programs like these throughout the year. Inshallah, Sayyid, like every other night, will be here tonight after the majlis for if you have any questions or would like to discuss anything. Sayyid will be available after. And the sisters are welcome to stay back if they have any questions as well. And tomorrow, inshallah, we will be starting a little bit earlier at 8:30 p.m. so we can have enough time for a Q&A after the majlis. So the majlis will start at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. The flyer will be sent out along with the link for the questions, and you can submit your questions there. So we're going to start earlier so we have more than enough time to at least answer some of the questions that will be put forth. Without further ado, I would like to call upon Hujjatul Islam al Muslimin, Sayyid Abbas Ghazaviyan, to enlighten us with his wisdom. Let us welcome him with three loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى يوم الدين. We send our condolences to you for the martyrdom of Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam in the time period of Fatimiyya. When you look at the different alqab or titles that Sayyidah Fatima has, how many of them do you know from the names, either alqab or titles or technonyms? One of them that I'm sure you've heard of is Abiha, meaning that she is the mother of her father. What does this mean, Abiha? Abiha. There are three, when I was researching, there's three possibilities. One is this possibility, that just how Amina, the Prophet's mother, and the Prophet felt the Prophet felt that he was indebted to her because she was taking care of, she was the mother of Rasulullah, and mothers, what do? They take care of children. So one of these is because Amina, for example, the mother takes care, so therefore here can mean mother, and you feel indebted. Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam would take care of Rasulullah. And that when you look at, for example, the journeys that Rasulullah would leave, he used to kiss Fatima, he used to say farewell to her and visit her. In return, Sayyidah Fatima treated her father with love and care. She would tend to the wounds, alleviate the pains of Rasulullah, and take care of him so much, so she was Abiha, as the mother of her father. Please recite Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Another possibility is that the wives of the Prophet were Mu'mineen, were mothers of the believers, the wives of the Prophet. But so this would not be confused, because now you're saying Mu'mineen, maybe they're the highest in position, or maybe the Prophet then called her Abiha, the mother of Rasulullah, the mother of her father. Therefore, she has a higher status, obviously, than Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers. The third, which is a deeper meaning, which for example, say Al-Qura, the mother of the town Mecca. Means the root and foundation. So when you say Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam is Abiha, it means that she is the root and foundation of the tree of prophethood, and her children are the fruits. She is the one who connects risalat of the Prophet to wilayat and wasiyat of the Imams, because she is the mother of the Imams. So therefore she is Abiha, meaning the root and foundation of the tree of prophethood. Please recite Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa Jafar. I hope you all remember our discussion that we're talking about. We're talking about life skills. One of those life skills is what? I hope just maybe you can raise your hands if you remember what skill we were talking about. Whoever, mashallah, but besides brother, anyone else remember the topic we're talking about? It is decision making. One of the skills that we do, especially you need to have at a young age, is decision making. Some decisions will change your life completely. I remember some of our family members, for example, they were in elementary school, and an Islamic school opened up. They found out about Islamic school in their town, and they had to make this decision to leave public school and to go, because a lot of times when you force kids or make them, it doesn't come out right. The kid also has to agree. So this young individual decided that I will leave all my friends. I will leave what where I'm comfortable with and go to a completely new school. And there, when they went in, this completely changed their life. From the practicing Islam, learning about Islam, their entire future changed compared to what would have happened if they continued that path in the public school. Now, am I saying that anyone that goes to a public school will end up being a kafir or disbeliever? No. I went to public school. Maybe actually that's a reason not to, for example, go to public school. But that doesn't mean that necessarily. But generally speaking, it depends on each individual, because Islamic schools is always about how much you put in yourself. Don't expect you to go to an Islamic school and do nothing and become like Allame Hilli. You have to try. You have to attempt to learn. It's there for you to learn the Arabic. If you don't put time to learn Arabic and Quran, then you're not going to benefit. Or you don't take time to practice your salat and learn it, you won't benefit. You have to try. The individual has to have that desire. But regardless, one of these decisions, for example, is this. Should I stay in a public school? Should I go to an Islamic school? It's very sad. Sometimes you hear that schools that are not Shia, Muslim schools that are not Shia, they have a wait list. So many people want to attend it, and they can't give services to everyone. But sometimes our schools, there's no wait list. Why? Because our families are not educated to knowing how important an Islamic school is. Some even something higher and say not even Islamic schools, homeschooling. I don't want to even let my child go to an Islamic school. I want them to be homeschooled. Some of the scholars that I know, they say this is the best way. But regardless, this day and age, going to a public school is going to be very difficult. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but the friends you have, do you want to practice, pray salat, for example? Look at one of the rulings of Ayatollah al-Ulma Sistani, that in his Risala is when a person is mumayyiz, it's recommended for that boy or girl to pray. When does someone get tamyiz? What does even tamyiz mean, mumayyiz? What age does a boy or girl have tamyiz? Tamyiz means this, to differentiate between good or bad. It's before bulugh. Bulugh is maturity. For example, girls at the age of 9 lunar years. Boys, there's signs of bulugh, if not around 15, say. So therefore, what is tamyiz? Tamyiz means good or bad. If you ever look like a baby and then they become a toddler, they don't know good or bad. If there's something obscene on TV, they just look at it. They don't know if it's bad or not. But someone who's in like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, if there's something on TV or something they put their eyes down, means they have tamyiz. Ayatollah Sistani's Risala has that someone who reaches, a boy or girl reaches tamyiz, and that's like second, third grade, it's recommended for them to do salat. Do not go home and force your second-year-old and wake him up for Fajr tomorrow. Please do not do that. I don't want to torture these poor guys. Don't worry, kids. I have your back. I know, you're writing notes, and I know you're my friends, so I'm not going to have your parents do that. But it's if you like, if you guys want. Try it, Fajr, for example. Try. But you have to be able to nudge them, push them a little bit, not force them in a way that they're going to run away, from you. So these are decisions. How can prayer be easy? When I go to an Islamic school, in a Salat al-Dhuhr and Asr, at least, that is taken care of in the school. One of the things I was watching, it said that if you want your children to get used to prayer, we're talking about decision making, I'm going to be talking about foresight. You have to get them used to one of the prayers first. Salatul Dhuhr, for example. Salatul Asr. Get them used to just praying that, not all five, before they have to take leave. When they get used to the Dhuhr, then they get used to Salatul Asr. Then when they master that, next year, give them Maghrib too. Next year, give them Isha, for example. Give them then Fajr. Fajr is the Jihad Akbar, for example. That's going to be the hardest. Someone said, if you want a lot of people to become Muslim, remove Salatul Fajr. A lot of people will become Muslim because it is hard. So therefore, you see that you have to have a plan. You have to have tadabbur, tafakkur. When I want to do something, make the correct decision, I have to have a plan when I'm implementing. I have to know something is worthy. So therefore, you see, when it comes to salat in Islamic schools, one of the important decisions that you, as young people, or your siblings will be making is, should I go to an Islamic school or not, for example. One, we said about choosing a spouse. One is, what career should I have, right? One is, and we're always recruiting, should I go to the Hawza or not? Should I go to Qom or Najaf? This is one of the most important decisions, because there will be a lot of sacrifice for this. And I do recommend, don't just get a ticket tonight and go tomorrow and beat me to Qom, for example. We don't want this to happen. But start in your own city. Start online. Start in your own city, 2-3 years, then go. Then go. Don't go too early. So regardless, when it comes to decision making, we said this, that the first thing is intention, niyyah. Your intention to make a right decision. I need to have the right intention. Because if that intention is not good, I will fail. If that intention is good, God will help me. Did you ever see yourselves, you had a good intention? You want to help somebody out? You want to just visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it's Arba'een, or it's a different time. You had this pure intention, somehow everything worked, aligned. You made the flight, you made, for example, everything was prepared so you can go. Why? Because your intention was pure. So the first, what we talked about in intention, we can speak a lot about. Because in Islam, it's not like other ways of life. Usually in philosophy, when it comes to Western philosophy, they'll say, some of the philosophers, they'll say, an action is either good or bad. That's it. It's either good or bad. But we have this thing called niyyah. It can be the same exact action, but done with two different people, two different intentions. One can be very, very great, and one can be very, very bad. Salat, for example, I could do salat, and I could be doing it to show off. I could be doing it, for example, so people like me. Terrible intention. That's shirk. Not only is it not accepted, that salat is haram to do because you're worshiping others. Or then I can make a salat that sometimes, say I'm with my friends, they're non-Muslim, and it's time to pray, for example, or it's getting qada, and I feel uncomfortable maybe with them, or what should I do? I'm in their house. I have to get wudu, I have to pray, but I sacrifice and I make this intention, okay, I'm going to pray. Or maybe I'm in the airplane, it's hard, for example, or I'm at the airport, it's hard. Maybe I'm in the mountains, it's cold. So that intention It's at multiple levels. There are some in the traditions, it says, their intention is so sincere that on the day of judgment they are raised, it's hadith, a day of judgment they are raised and they see their letter of deeds is blank. They don't have anything. So, ajab, this guy's so pious. This guy was so good in the masjid. He's always, fixing everything, setting the programs, for example, so good. But what happened? Was he, God forbid, was he a hypocrite? No. It says that he was so sincere that in Day of Judgment, everyone's mahshar, everyone, all of creation are there. How many human beings were ever created? All are there. Right now, how many human beings we have now? Like what, 7, 8 billion? Imagine how many we had all together. So billions of humans are all there, and it's his turn. And you say, ajab, it's clean. But why? It says that he is so sincere that he didn't even want anyone else to know about his actions except for Allah. And Allah preserved that on the Day of Judgment and gives him the reward himself, but doesn't even allow others in the Day of Judgment to see. So there are these acts of sincerity, that intention when you want to make a good decision, brothers and sisters, that is the first step. Do have ikhlas and niyyah. Whatever you want to do. Think about it. Sometimes it's very complicated. Sometimes my intention, you don't even think about it, is shaitani, is satanic. For example, you're rushing to come to speech of Sayyid Abbas because you're addicted to his speeches, for example. You're addicted to his channels on internet and whatever. So therefore, you're rushing, but then when you're arriving, you're coming late. For example, for the majlis. Even though I kept saying we're starting at this time, you come late. You see that Sayyid Abbas is not here yet. You get happy. Oh, I didn't miss anything. But you're happy because of you. Poor Sayyid Abbas, something happened to him, he was late. Maybe somebody mugged him, for example, in Central Park, or something happened like this when he was coming back. Something happened to him, or he missed, for example, the metro. Instead of taking the F lane or whatever, take the G lane or E lane. He missed it, for example. Something bad happened to him. But you are just thinking of yourself. You just want to come for yourself and participate. You didn't care to say that, boss, there's a reason he was late. So you get happy for him being late. Or you get happy when the jama'ah was late, for example, and you made it. Because we're so selfish. So if you really open intention up, and I don't want to do it tonight, you see that there's so many multiple levels, and sometimes we're so selfish and satanic that we want others to fail. Your child, for example, there's a competition, Quran competition. The other child messes up in a Quran competition. Yeah, alhamdulillah, messed up. My kid's going to win now. Satanic intention. Why don't you? That's your child as well. That's your brother's child, for example, in Islam. Why do you want them to fail? Why is it when you have intention, you have one person who's sick in your family, Allah, my child, give him shafa, my shafa. Aren't there other sick people right now? Make dua for them too. How come we're like this? So it shows us that we have a lot to work when it comes to intention and ikhlas and sincerity, that we should have khair. We want khair for everyone. We want goodness for everyone. Then you'll get somewhere. If I'm just so selfish in my du'as, some of the companions of the Imams figured out this secret. He said that it was, for example, the day of Arafah, or one of these special days. He heard one of the companions of Imam alayhi salam only praying for others. And it's ta'ajjub. Why don't you pray for yourself? It's like the day of Arafah. He says, I remember my Imam alayhi salam mentioning that if you pray for others, you'll get multiplied. Maybe some of the traditions say maybe like around 60. Some of them might even say 1,000 times will come back to you. So he says, I knew the secret. I prayed for him. 1,000 times will come back to me. So he didn't even pray for. He says, there's no need for me to pray for myself. So therefore, that is the first thing in decision making. What college to go to, for example. What is your niyat? What do you want to do? Why do you want to go? Sometimes we are fooled by these, for example, these brand name colleges. They have great football teams. What does that have to do with you? You want to go and play football? Who cares about the football team, for example? Or for example, I just love this college, and please make sure someday come to me, say, please, let's go to Stanford. Please let me get into Stanford. I have to get into Stanford. Brother, it's good. Go into the school. It's important. But that's not heaven. That's not like your aqibat bakhair. You have a good end to your life. There are many other people who had a good life, dunya and akhirah, that didn't get into this school. Don't fixate yourself on one thing. What is your intention? Ask him the same person. What is your intention? Why do you want to go to this specific school? So I just like it. I like the name. I like the logo. I like the jacket. It'd be so cool. I'll be in there. Great. And then you see, they don't get in. Oh, Allah didn't answer my prayers. Oh, why did this happen? They didn't get in. But Allah had a plan. Maybe if he went into that school, he would have met somebody. Something would have happened to him at school. Or maybe it was just better for them to stay at home and to go to that local university, local college. For example, they don't even know. Maybe their parents are going to pass away soon. And there's the last years of the lives of their parents. Allah wanted their parents to see their child more. We don't know. So always remember that niyyah is important. Why am I doing so? If it's khair, if it's good. Remember, anytime you're fixating on one specific thing, know that that's nafs in it. Like a car, for example. Car is supposed to take you somewhere. No, I need to have this car, specific car. Yes, it needs to be, with these options. This is it. Anything else, they're dumb. Those are for losers, for example. I don't drive that. No. You're trying to think of a good car at your shan, at your status, whichever one will take you. Then you know that doesn't have nafs. It's just a wasila for you. So for me to have a good intention, I need to have something this is the second step, is ma'rifah, understanding. Understanding. So intention goes back to ma'rifah, how I see the world. The Prophet has a very important dua. Allahumma aranil al-ashya kamahi. Allah, show me things how they really are. Did you ever make this dua? Allah, show me dunya how it really is. Allah, show me akhirat how it really is. If you don't have ma'rifah and understand where you are, is it even possible for you to make the right decision? Let me give you an example. We had a genocide, and it still is going on. Some thought that when there's a ceasefire, everyone's going to be back to normal, and there's going to be... No, ceasefire means they're going to kill less. They're going to keep continuing. They're going to kill less. Many were afraid to speak out. Oh no, but they're killing our Muslim brothers and sisters. They're killing, even if they're not Muslim, they're killing humans. We saw images that they're still in our minds, that we've never seen images like this. Fathers taking their children in bags, plastic bags. And we were quiet, except a few, obviously. Why do I need to have ma'rifah in order to help Palestine, for example, to help Gaza? Why do I need ma'rifah? Because if I do not understand the world, if I do not understand dunya, how it is, and how it's transient, then I will be attached to the world. I will love the world, and I will be afraid to speak out because they will take the dunya away from me. And I love the dunya, and I want the dunya because I think I'm always will be here. But if I think this world is like a hotel, I think everyone here ever went to a hotel, right? Is there anyone that didn't go to a hotel? If you didn't, your homework is, this holiday, go to a hotel. Say that boss says, because of this example, I have to go on a vacation. When you go to a hotel, you check in, usually has a TV, usually has some furniture. Inshallah, it is for you 5-star, whatever, 4-star, whatever it is. Do you ever get attached to the things in that room? Actually, you're supposed to say no here, but it's okay. Here, it says say no, you don't get attached. For example, and let me make it clear. When you go home, do you ever like, oh, wait, the TV, I need to take the TV home. I need to take the bed home, my bed. Do you say my bed? No. Because that is the hotel's bed. That is the hotel's monitor or TV or soft couch or the 1,000 count, I don't know, sheets, hotel, high quality sheets. You say, I liked it, I used it while I was there, but it's not mine. That is one of the best examples for dunya for us. Treat your life, if you have this ma'rifah, understanding of the world, that I'm here like a hotel. I'm checking in. That car, from now on, that home that you have, think your home is like a hotel. I'm using it only for 50, 20, inshallah, 100 years. But then I check out. And when you check out, you're not attached to it because that's not yours. I just used it while I'm here. So that person that views the world, and you see in the narration, it's so beautiful how they look, how they give examples, for example, of life. Some say a bridge. Imam Ali alayhi salam says life is like a bridge. You don't build it, you just cross it. If you look at it as just something that's transient, therefore it's not important. You don't have any ta'alluq, attachment to it. And when it comes time, Allah, the angel of death, comes to you. That's it. Fulani, for example, Abbas, time's up. You can't live here anymore. So fine, I'm ready here. I'm checking out. Thank you so much. My test is done. We're going to go to the next level. But if I view everything as mine, even though Quran says, Inna lillah, everything belongs to Him, I really think I am the malik and owner of things, then I'm going to say, no. Some people, it's written, it's known, they fight. They fight with God at the end of their life. God, why are you taking my life right now? I have kids. God, I have grandchildren. I have this building. I was working on this project. This is not time for it. It's very interesting. Did you notice some people, they die, and they die with their eyes closed? Some people die and their eyes are open. Did you ever think about that? Some people, their eyes, when they die, their eyes are open. Some people, they die, their eyes are closed. They asked Prophet in Hadith, why is it that some people's eyes are open, some people's eyes are closed? He said that they did not have enough time to close their eyes. When the angel of death came, they couldn't even close their eyes. It happens that fast. And those whose eyes were closed, they could not open it. That's how death comes. But that person that looks at this world as a transient place, just a place to stay, I'm checking out now, test is over. Everyone, did you ever see test? Turn in your test set. It's over, time's up. Okay, this is what I did in life. Say the Fatimiyya, help me, Imam Ali, help me. And they do. The first thing you see, look at the traditions, is who do you see right when you die? And I said the tradition, وَمَنْ يَمُوتْ يَرَنِي, whoever dies sees me. So if I have this type of ma'rifah about the world, there's just a place for me to stay. When it comes to decision making, I will not be passive. I won't be afraid of losing my job, for example, losing my friends. I will speak out. Look at Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam when it came in Sham. Look at how strong she was. Why? Because there's nothing that Yazid could do to hurt her. She had no ta'alluq, no attachment. Instead of being an asir and captive, she was an amir. And that is why our leadership, our scholars, our ulama are the strongest of people. Because you cannot threaten them and scare them because they see the world, the dunya is fani. Imam Hussein alayhi salam mentions, in his letter, it's as if the world, it never was. And as if the hereafter never ceased. It's always akhirah, for example. Tonight, I'm going to give you the example of Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam in one of the decisions she made to help us make better decisions. So we're saying this. In order to make the right decision, regardless if it's personal, for family, economical, these major decisions, I need to have ma'rifah of the world, of the hereafter, of Allah and Imams and Prophets. If I do not have this ma'rifah, there's no way I can make the right decision. Because if I think I'm always going to be in this world, then I will never make a decision that is against dunya. I always make a decision for dunya. When it comes to, for example, schools, and you have parents who are attached to the world. When it comes to, for example, education and contemporary education, they'll say, okay, I'll take my son to the best or daughter to the best school, but they might be weaker in faith. Say, it's okay. Dunya is better than akhirah. It's fine. It's okay. Let him exceed. Let him be a doctor, engineer. Let him go to the school. I'm not saying, inshallah, you can have both. But if you ever have to decide between dunya and akhirah, which one do you choose? Always choose the hereafter. Inna akhiratu khayrun. Who recited it? Surah Al-A'la. Wa abqa. And it's forever, he says, Surah Al-A'la. The akhirah is better and ever lasts. And this is one of the principles in ethics, that whenever there's contradiction between the world and the hereafter, the mu'min chooses the hereafter. Because that is our life. Inshallah, we can have dunya and akhirah. That's the best. I'm saying when there's contradiction, you have to choose. Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam was one of the decisions she made, and we want to learn decision making from her, is that it was a very scary time. These people that were against Amir al-Mu'mineen were murderers, were thugs. They murdered people before. They did not have rahm and mercy. And for Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam to stand up against them, a lady, one who is 18, one who is pregnant, is more careful about where they go, what happens to them, especially when they're getting closer and closer to delivery, right? So therefore, with all these things to lose, young age, female at that time, pregnant, she gives it all because she has ma'rif. They come to her. She gives it all for Amir al-Mu'mineen. She decides that I have to give my life, dunya, in order to help wilayat, in order to help Ali alayhi salam. They come to her, they visit Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, the ladies of Quraysh, and this is how she speaks. Lamma, the ladies of Medina. Lamma maradat Fatima, when she was, sick or injured from her wounds. التي توفيت فيها اجتمع إليها نساء المهاجرين والأنصار. The Muhajirin and Ansar came to Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam. فقلنا لها كيف أصبحت من علتك يا ابنة رسول الله? How are you doing, O daughter of the Messenger of Allah? How are you doing? There she says in the speech, فحمدت الله وصلت على أبيها. She praised Allah and did salutations on Rasulullah, her father. ثم قالت, this is the decision she made, and this is the courage, and this is what makes Sayyidah Fatima Ummul Muqawama, the mother of resistance. Ayatollah Safi has a book that Fatimiyya is Ashura. That Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he learned from Sayyidah his mother to resist. Imam Hussein alayhi salam had armor in Karbala. Sayyidah Fatima did not have armor when they came to attack. There she says, أَسْبَحْتُ وَاللَّهِ أَعِفَةً لِدُنْيَاكُنَّ غَالِيَةً لِرِجَالِكُنَّ. She said that, by Allah, I have been resenting your world and detesting your men. She puts all their husbands down. What I'm trying to say, the decision she made, she chose Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam over dunya. Why? Because she understood two things. One, the world is transient. Two, the wilayat of Imam Ali alayhi salam is the most important thing, even more than my life. This is ma'rifah. So if you want to make a correct decision, you need to have understanding. She says, I have cast them away after testing them. Hated them, the men of Medina. Hated them after examining them. Thus away with the men of playing after seriousness, striking the soft rocks, slackening the spears. Then this is the other second ma'rifah she has. Again, if she did not understand Imam Ali, would she sacrifice for Imam Ali? Would she make the decision to stand up for Imam Ali if she doesn't understand Imam Ali? So first you have to have ma'rifah. She says this then, وَمَا الَّذِي نَقِمُوا مِنْ أَبِي الْحَسَنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. Then why do you deny Abu al-Hasan? Why do you deny Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam? نَقِمُوا مِنْهُ وَاللَّهِ نَكِيرَ سَيْفِهِ. Do you deny the beating of his sword? وَقِلَّةَ مُبَالَاتِهِ بِحَتْفِهِ. His carelessness about death. She's talking about giving ma'rifah of Imam Ali to them. Look, do you know who your guys are missing? Do you know who you're putting aside? This is why I'm upset with you. Instead of crying in some of the musibah that says, how are you? She says, because of the dhulm of faqtun nabi and dhulm al-wasi. This is why I am in bala. This is why I'm in pain. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, for him, he says, there's no difference. If I go to death or death comes to me, there's no difference. So Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, this is who you're missing. His deadly assaults, his anger for the sake of Allah. By Allah, if they turned away from the rein which the Prophet has handed over to him, he would catch it tenderly and he would move without harm or worry. If you take the rein of a horse, the rein of the government, of leadership, and you gave it to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he would treat you very fairly. He would take it very gently and put you in comfort. She's telling them at the end of her life that what you missed, because she has that ma'rif. Then she says he would lead them to a fresh flowing fount. Did you ever see fresh water in the mountains coming? And how in need you are when you're thirsty? He said Amir al-Mu'mineen would give you that clear water and would return them with satiety, while he himself would not profit of anything but a little just break from his acute thirst and hunger. So therefore, you see, in this example that I gave tonight, Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, one of the decisions she made was that she chose Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam in wilayat over the people, over her own life. But this decision can only have been made if she had understanding of the dunya, that the dunya is not annihilation. We're all going to die sooner or later. 2, that wilayah is so important. Many of us, we talk about the Imam of the age and the government of Imam Mahdi Ajalat al-Fajr al-Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And we only think, sometimes this might be in your mind, let me know, that you think that it was only Imam Mahdi that can take the world and make it good. Question: if the world followed Imam Ali, could Imam Ali alayhi salam do what Imam Mahdi will do? Could he ever? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Because Imam Ali alayhi salam has the same capability, same knowledge, same sincerity, same divine help. Then why did Imam Ali alayhi salam not fight? Why did Imam Ali alayhi salam do qu'ud as Abu Amr? He comes to Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, sees her in Baqi. Sees her, in cemetery, not Baqi. She sees her in cemetery. Asks Sayyidah Fatima this question: did your father leave any type of will or successor for us? In the tradition, she answers, paraphrasing, that where were you in Qadir? Abu Amr, where were you in Qadir? In front of 100,000 people, 100 days before the Prophet passed, he said it. Then he asks this very important question, he says, then why did he do qu'ud? Why qa'ada an haqqih? Why did he sit down then? If he was the successor of Rasulullah, why did he sit down? Here Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam opens in wilayat for him and shows the world and says, مَثَلُ الْإِمَامِ كَمَثَلِ الْكَعْبَةِ تُؤْتَى وَلَا تَأْتِي. The example of Imam is the example of the Kaaba. You go towards it, but the Kaaba does not come towards it. Meaning that if people of Medina, and from this speech, this fountain of water and the barakat of that Allah will give, if people of Medina, you came to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he would turn this world into paradise. but you are missing out. When we look at our Imam, and to relate this to decision making, we have another thing that's very important for us to decide, and that is to serve Imam al-Zaman, to prepare for his return. If you are attached to the world, if you don't understand wilayat and authority of Ahlul Bayt, it will be hard for you to make the right decisions during the end of times. If you are going to be a good companion, you want to be a companion of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you want to be a good companion of Imam Ali, you need to have ma'rif and understanding. When you look at some of the traditions that talk about the time of Imam al-Zaman, you see that people have to sacrifice. People have to have this Fatimiyya outlook of life, that I will give everything for wilayah. Imam Mahdi, command me and I will be. When you read Holy Quran, you have this reoccurring thing to follow the prophets. That the Bani Israel, they lied to them. They did not believe in them. They did not follow them. Reoccurring thing to Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Or to Prophet Isa alayhi salam. The Hawariyun, for example, saying, we will follow you, for example. So therefore, one of the reoccurring themes of Quran is that when you read the Quran over and over and over, is to produce a complete follower. Someone that's going to completely submit to Imam or Prophet. That's a reoccurring theme of Quran. And therefore you see that some of the traditions that talk about the end of times and talk about the dhuhur of the Imam is related to the Kaaba. It is us that we have to prepare ourselves for the Imam. They asked one of the Imams in the narration, what about the dhuhur? What about the faraj, for example? The Imam gives, alayhi salam, gives a story to explain the different time periods of people and explains why there's a delay, basically. From this tradition, we understand why there's a delay. He says it this way. It's a very nice story. It's actually a tradition. It's a story from Imams, from Imam alayhi salam. He says that once there was a very wise person, and he had a son that did not study very well. He didn't follow the footsteps of his father. When the father died, the son didn't learn much, but before his death, the father said, listen, son, if you want to learn from what I have, this knowledge that I have, I taught, for example, this person, I taught the neighbor, for example, I taught him, you can go and seek it from him. Fathers, they're caring. So therefore, he gave the knowledge to the neighbor. He gave knowledge to someone else. At that time, son now doesn't have father. The king comes, and this is a story that Imam alayhi salam in hadith gives to explain the dhuhur and the conditions of dhuhur. The king comes and says, I had a dream. Where is this wise person? Where is he now? This Hakim, where is he? I have a dream, interpreted. They say that he's dead. Then they ask, then, does he have a son? Maybe I can seek knowledge from his son. So yes, he had a son. He goes to him, the son, and he says, listen, I will give you all this, if you answer this, we'll give you money, for example. You'll give all this reward. So before going to meet the king, the son was smart. He goes and asks this Hakim, that student of his father. He tells him and says, I've been summoned to the king, and there's a good chance to make the king very happy. Give me some advice. What do you think about this dream? He says, go to him and tell him, wolf, adhib. Go and tell him adhib. So, okay. He goes and he says, look, the king says, I had this dream and this happened, for example. And the boy gives the answer, says, adhib, it means wolf. So I think, wow, how did you know the answer to this? He gives him reward. But that wise person, he said that you have to give me my share. If I tell the answer, where's my share? So while kid is coming back, this young person is coming back, or boy, or son, he's thinking on the way, should I give him his share or not? He says, no way. What's the chance king is going to ask me another question? What's the chance? Let me take it all for myself. So he comes back, he doesn't say anything. He takes the money for himself. It's a lot of money. Then king summons him again. And then he goes back to the wise person, his neighbor, and says, look, I'm summoned again. I need the answers. He says, I give it to you, but you have to split it. You have to give me my share. It's okay. There he tells him, ram. The answer is ram. He goes and tells the king ram. It makes sense. The king gives him money. Then he's like, okay, let me give him a share. Maybe he needs his money. He doesn't. I promised him this time. I just can't do it. Just can't do it. But I know I should. I should, but I just can't give him his money. I need it. Third time king summons this son. And he says the answer is al-mizan, the scale. He goes to the king. He says, I had this dream. And he says, the answer is al-mizan, scale. Gives him more money. He's making lots of money, mashallah, now. But this time he thinks of it and says, you know what? I'm going to be fair. I'm going to do what is right. I'm going to give my neighbor or this wise person, Hakim, I'm going to give him his share. When he comes to give him his share, then the wise person speaks. It says that when I told you wolf, when I told you ram, when I told you mizan, they all had meanings. Wolf was this stage that you thought at the beginning that I had a right, but you completely devoured it like a wolf. You didn't even think about what was my right. Then the second stage when you said ram, when I said ram, you knew that you had to do what is right. You were just too afraid. You ever see sheep, ram, they're afraid. They're afraid, they don't want any trouble, they're passive. The third, you became the scale. You became mizan, you became justice. Scale is the sign of justice. The Imam gives a story in order to explain the end of times, when the dhuhur will happen. As our scholars say, meaning there will be 3 time periods for us. One, we will experience the time period of wolf when they came and killed and slaughtered Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and didn't even think about giving them their right. Did this to Imam Ali, Lady Fatima, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. To kill the Imams, they're the type that just have a wolf just devours. And one of the characteristics that a wolf has, sometimes it kills just to kill. It'll kill an entire flock of sheep just to kill. Then there will be the time period of sheep. Do you think maybe we're at this time period? That we know it is right. You know they're committing genocide, for example. You know we got to stop the Zionists. But we're too afraid. No, the fathers say they came to this country. No, don't do it. Don't. You'll be in trouble, for example. No, don't speak out. I always say, be more afraid of Allah and Allah's punishment for not doing what is right than the punishment of mankind. The tradition has an Al-Khoei, whoever wakes up in the morning and hears help from his Muslim brother and doesn't do anything is not a Muslim. Then the third stage, which is the stage of justice, this is when the Imam will appear. When people will sacrifice everything they have, and some are today, and we see in this last 2 years, or individuals and groups that gave whatever they had to do what is right. They will reach a time where people will not be silent anymore. They will not care about their money, their wealth, their lives. They'll give their heads for justice. They'll give their life for what is true. That is when, this is how the Imam beautifully with the story answers, when will the Faraj happen? When will Imam Mahdi come back? When will be the government? When people stop being sheep, when people stop being rams, when people stop being wolves, and they're promoters of al-mizan, the scale. As you saw in the college students, some of them were kicked out of school. Some of them were not allowed to study. Some of them were kicked out of the country. But they said, enough is enough. Do to me whatever you want. You are child killers. You're starving on purpose children. And this for us, if you're going to make this type of decision, you need to have ma'rifat. You need to have understanding that this world is transient. Allah will reward you. You need to understand that wilayat is the solution to this world, that every government will come in some way or other will be incomplete. The only dawla and only government that will be successful is the government of Imam al-Zaman. And this is the purpose of our majalis. Our majalis is not here just to cry and say, oh, they killed Imam Hussein, oh, they killed Lady Fatima, and do nothing for Imam Mahdi, and do nothing for the Imam of the time. The purpose of our majalis is to prepare soldiers for the Imam of the age. So they can sacrifice for the Imam. They can be al-mizan for him. So we cry so much for Sayyidah Fatima, so we learn muqawama and resistance from her. We cry for Imam Hussein alayhi salam so much that we get prepared to give our heads for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. As you see, Imam Musa Sadr says very beautifully, he says, some of you, you cry for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but you behead Imam Hussein. Imam Musa Sadr says this. So they ask, how do I cry for Imam Hussein but behead Imam Hussein? He says, you cry for Imam Hussein, but you kill the message of Imam Hussein. You're not afraid to speak against the tyrants and oppression and against dhulm. Therefore, you're crying for Imam Hussein, but you're beheading Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So therefore, one of the ways we can understand to make a correct decision is to have ma'rifah of this world. See, this world is nothing, as if it never existed, as if it was always hereafter. And to understand wilayat and importance of imamat, which is our number one duty in life, to transform ourselves in the majlis of Sayyidah Fatima to those who will be helpers and assisters of her son, Imam Mahdi Ajallah Ta'ala Faraj al-Sharif. Will now go to the musibah, inshallah, and ask Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam to open our hearts and prepare ourselves for the dhuhr, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kulli waliyaka al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan. صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا محافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه عندك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. I take you, brothers and sisters, to Medina 1400 years ago. I take you to a tradition, a hadith that's in Fara'id al-Simtain, that is from Sunni sources. This Rawza, this Musibat, is recorded in Sunni sources, not in our sources. It's 1400 years ago while Rasulullah is alive. A very beautiful time for Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Sayyidah Fatima, the time that they were honored. The time when Rasulullah would delay his salat, his sujood, and they would come to him and ask, Ya Rasulullah, you did a very long sujood. Did another verse come? Was another verse revealed? He said that Hassan was on my shoulders, and I delayed my prostration so that Hassan would not fall, so that Hassan could get off my shoulders himself. This was the care that Rasulullah gave to Imam Hassan. It's the care he gave to Imam Hussein. And when he would see Sayyidah Fatima in Sunni Shia sources, it said he would stand up, kiss her hand, give his own place to her. She would come and say farewell to Rasulullah when he was going for battle, he was going to travel. She would take care of him. But then Rasulullah, as he has knowledge of the unseen, sees the future. He sees what his ummah will do to his daughter Fatima alayhi salam. And he just looks at her, how beautiful she is, how graceful she is, and begins to cry. Narrator comes and asks, says, Rasulullah, why are you crying? He foretells what happens to Sayyidah Fatima in this tradition while he's alive. He sees it with his eyes, sees it with his heart, and he tells us, and it's recording in Sunni sources. وَإِنِّي لَمَّا رَأَيْتُهَا ذَكَرْتُ مَا يُصْنَعُ بِهَا بَعْدِي. I began to cry because I remember what would be done to her after. كَأَنِّي بِهَا, as if I am with her. Dear believers, when they came and barged into the house of Sayyidah Fatima, Rasulullah was there in spirit. He was there. كَأَنِّي بِهَا, as if I can see her, as if I am with her. وَقَدْ دَخَلَ الذُّلْ فِي بَيْتِهَا, and humiliation enters her house. What is humiliation here? 20, 30 thugs. Multiple times, Allama Amini says, or Sheikh Abbas Al-Khoei says, that this is only not once that they came into attack. Multiple times they came to attack the house of Sayyidah Fatima. I apologize, the Sa'adat, I apologize, my dear believers, reading the maqtal and the way that your mother Fatima was martyred. وَانْتُهِكَتْ حُرْمَتُهَا, dhul came, and sanctity was her violated, her sanctity. وَصِبَتْ حَقُّهَا, and her rights were usurped. وَمُنِعَتْ إِرْثُهَا وَكَسُرَ وَكُسِرَ جَنْبُهَا, and they came and they crushed her ribs were broken. And this is the tradition. This is one of the evidence that we have. The ribs of Sayyidah Fatima, her side was broken. These sides that Sayyidah Fatima salam, after these 75, 95 days, she was inhaling, exhaling. How much does it hurt to breathe with a broken rib? How does she sleep with a broken rib on her side? This is why she became so frail. At this time, Sayyidah Fatima salam called one person. The tradition. When they came and entered the door, they broke open her rib. وَهِيَ تُنَادِي يَا مُحَمَّدًا, and she calls out, "Oh Father, oh Muhammad." فَلَا تُجَابْ, but nobody answers. وَتَسْتَغِيثُ فَلَا تُغَاث, and she seeks help, but nobody helps. She will be the first of my household to join me, the tradition says. She will come to me, فَتَقَدَّمْ عَلَيَّ مَحْزُونَةً مَكْرُوبَةً مَغْمُومَةً مَقْصُوبَةً مَقْتُولَةً. She will come to me on the day of judgment, sorrowful, distressed, grief-stricken, oppressed, and killed. Then I shall say at that moment, "O Allah, curse the one who wronged her, and punish the one who usurped her, and abase the one who humiliated her, and let abide in your fire the one who struck her side, until she lost her child." I have a question for you. How many of you are Sadat? How many of you are from Imam Hussein alayhi salam? How many of Sadat are from Imam Hassan alayhi salam? Did you know when they killed Muhsin? When they killed Muhsin, they killed along with him the entire progeny of Imam Ali and Sayyidah Fatima. That would be Muhsini. We have Husseini Sadat. We have Hassani Sadat. How many Sadat that today are ulama and scholars that are Husseini and Hassani are helping us have so much prestige and honor? How many Sadat of Muhsini did they kill? فَتَقُولُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ آمين. The angels at that time say Ameen. Ya Allah, we ask you, because of the mazlumiyya of Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, give us a good end to our lives, inshallah. Allow us to see the world how it truly is, inshallah. Allow us to make correct decisions in our life regarding our work, our marriage, when it comes to our schooling, where to live. Give us the ability to make good directions, make good decisions, inshallah. Ya Allah, we ask you to give us ma'rifat of the dunya and the akhirah, inshallah. Give us ma'rifat of the Imam, inshallah. Make us good companions of Imam al-Zaman. Cure all the sick. Bless our departed. Give reward of this majlis to them, inshallah. and expedite the return of Imam Zaman with his salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allah. ماتم السيدة فاطمة ليس تماسدها
نفسي على زفراتها محبوسة، يا ليتها خرجت مع الزفرات. لا خير بعدك في الحياة، وإنما أبكي مخافة أن تطول حياتي. يا زهراء يا زهراء يا زهراء يا زهراء يا زهراء يا زهراء، لا ترحلي يا آية الأسرار، يا حرز هذا الكوكب السيار. لا ترحلي في النعش بالمسمار، لا تملئي صدري من الأنات. شو قال الإمام علي؟ قوم اقرئي القرآن خلف الباب، إني أحب دعاك في المحراب. يا زهرة ذابت على أعتابي، قلب الإمام عليك في حسراتي. نفسي على زفراتها محبوسة، يا ليتها خرجت مع الزفرات. لا خير بعدك في الحياة، وإنما أبكي مخافة أن تطول حياتي. لا ترحلي يا زهرة الأرواح، قومي لنذكر عاشر الأجراح. نبكي حديث الخمسة الأشباح، تحت السنابك نازف الشهقات. لا خير في الدنيا بلا الزهراء، صبت علي مصائب الأرزاء. الآن تبدأ كربلاء إيذائي، وتشق قلبي أسهم الآهات. نفسي على زفراتها محبوسة، يا ليتها خرجت مع الزفرات. لا خير بعدك في الحياة، وإنما أبكي مخافة أن تطول حياتي. نفسي على زفراتها محبوسة، يا ليتها خرجت مع الزفرات. لا خير بعدك في الحياة، وإنما أبكي مخافة أن تطول حياتي. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا خيرة خلق الله ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى يا أم المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا سيدتي فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين بن علي الشهيد بكربلاء. السلام على التسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين: علي بن الحسين زين العابدين، ومحمد بن علي الباقر، وجعفر بن محمد الصادق، وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم، وعلي بن موسى الرضا، ومحمد بن علي الجواد، وعلي بن محمد الهادي، والحسن بن علي العسكري، والحجة القائم المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل الله أمره ومخرجه. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Sayyid is here to answer any questions. If you would like to stay back, brothers and sisters, and hanging out with the Sayyid. And inshallah, tomorrow we will be starting at 8:30 p.m. So there is more than enough time for the Sayyid to answer the questions. Inshallah, the question and answer flyer with the link will be sent out within the next hour. So you will have it in your phones, inshallah.